I am a lead primary apologist. I think it's really great, and I think people should learn how to do it, the whole thing. I think they should learn how to modify their postures so that they can stay on rhythm, and that way people can start interfacing with different parts of what makes Ashtanga yoga awesome, no matter what their physical capacities are. I don't think that people need like more willpower or even more mobility. I think a lot of what's magic about Ashtanga is the count. What people need is a count, because the moment that you're in a yoga posture, your mind starts negotiating like it's in a boardroom. And, no, ma'am, it doesn't work. No, sir. There are so many different kinds of counts that are useful. There's this one lead count on intermediate series that I use on YouTube, and it's just perfect for me. Not because the count is flawless, but because there's something about the rhythm that I think is really helpful. And sometimes I just need someone to be like, hey, 5 breaths is actually 5 breaths. And they'll just keep going like an annoying metronome if I try to dally. Perfect. I think that the mantra of repetition of the count in Sanskrit is really potent and powerful. And I think doing those kinds of counting or chantings in community is a wonderful yoga technology. I don't always want to go to kirtan though, and so you can use the counts in your mind. And anyway, when the count says 5, there's no debate. There aren't any loopholes. You just go. Practicing solo is incredible because you can watch how you negotiate, but being in a lead class has this super quiet power too, where the group energy helps you while the count is made for you. And oh my gosh, somehow it's such a relief. When you surrender to an external rhythm, your breath stops being a suggestion and it starts to become a really helpful structure. The count holds the container. And this is tapas, right? This is heat building. This is practice. It's not just some sort of inspirational, aspirational situation. It has nothing to do with completing the asana or aesthetics. No, the version that you're doing, that you're sweating your way through up or down, or just sort of sitting there and moving with the breath to, is yours. It's nourishing, it's helpful. And you can work with some really powerful yoga technology when you use the count because it doesn't negotiate. Like, that's really its job. It keeps you on rhythm, it keeps your attention sharp, and it keeps you focused. And your job is to show up and not just to follow. I do hear how I'm talking about it. I know it sounds so simple, but I am trying to convey the brutal honesty because you can't hide so much inside of a real count. You're doing it in a group, and if you have like a strict person around who will call you out or whatever for not moving with the correct vinyasa, boy, you learn it quick. But I don't think that's the only way to do it. And I think there's a paradox in there where even though, like, when it gets hard, uh, I think also in many ways it gets easier. You learn how to adapt dynamically because you're not just managing the timing anymore. You're doing these things in a manner that is in your mind body organism. And so you don't have to wonder, is it the right thing to do? You throw a count on there, and the mental chatter that usually fills the space between the breaths totally disappears. There's just like no room. The count sucks all the air out of the room, as it were. I think it's kind of fun when in a lead class, vinyasa becomes a contract. You and the voice calling the numbers. You don't get to rewrite the agreement because your hamstrings are tight. You bend your knees and move with the group. You sync up. You match the rhythm. And in that matching, something shifts. The practice stops being about your preferences and it becomes about the thing itself. My friend Danny is always telling me that yoga is easy for those with no preferences, but whatever. The movement, the breath, the simple, unglamorous courage of doing what comes next gets rid of those preferences pretty nicely. You just do what feels nourishing. And honestly, I think the best counts have some personality anyway. You can hear the human behind it, the warmth, the steadiness, and maybe even some good humor in the pacing. Rigor doesn't require joylessness. Discipline can totally have a human voice. Let the count become an auditory drishti.